All right, guys. Can everybody hear me all right? Cool. All right, so my name's Mark Spencer, and I'm here to talk to you guys a little bit about Asterisk, the open source PBX. The title of my talk today is Kick Asterisk, or Where We've Come in a Year. And I'm going to talk to you, a lot of you probably already know a little bit about Asterisk, so I'm going to tell you mainly about the kinds of things that we've done since the last year when I presented here. So first I'm going to give you an introduction to Asterisk for those of you that don't know what it is, talk to you a little bit about why you ought to care, and then tell you about what's happened last year in terms of community and software and hardware development. Okay, so what is Asterisk? The official title is Asterisk is an open source hybrid TDM and packet voice PBX and IVR platform with ACD functionality. So did everybody get that and know everything that means? Very good. All right. Here. Who said that? Who wants to... Okay, you want to spell out all the acronyms? Who here? Raise your hand if you can name all those acronyms up there. Yeah, but I know you can. Back there in the back. All right, come up here. You get a cookie. No, you get a calculator, actually, even better. All right, okay, here we go. So, going through again in English in some detail here. First off, Asterisk is fully open source. It's GPL'd with an exception for OpenH323. Okay, we got one, Chris. Thanks, Mayor. Okay, Digium, the company I work for, we can license Asterisk outside of GPL if for any reason you need to, for whatever reason you want to keep it proprietary. It's written in C and it's architected a lot like the Linux kernel is in terms of being pretty hardcore C and very simple architecture. Asterisk supports traditional TDM or time division multiplexing technologies. These are what traditional telephony is. And we support T1E1s, analog phone lines, ISDN, and ADSI compatible phones, which are like feature phones over traditional analog phone lines with little buttons and displays and so on. Asterisk is a private branch exchange. Okay, this is a basic phone system like you'd have at any office that you go to, where you've got a bunch of phones and you can call each other and leave voicemail and all that kind of good stuff. All right, it seamlessly integrates both traditional TDM technologies and voice over IP technologies, which are starting to catch on a little bit more recently. So it supports standard call features like three-way calling and caller ID and call waiting and music on hold and call forwarding and all sorts of other things that you expect or maybe don't expect your traditional analog telephone to be able to do. It also can do some really cool advanced features. Of course, voicemail and conferencing, which usually you have to pay extra for to get on the traditional PBX. It can route by caller ID, which is interesting because, for example, one of my friends, Charlie, set up one time, he had this ex-girlfriend that he didn't like, and so when she would call from her home phone, he would have it ring her cell phone, and when she would call from her cell phone, it would ring her home phone, so she could always talk to herself. And then we also have a GUI call manager so that you can actually bring up a little graphical interface and drag calls around in the system to transfer things and even to make new outbound calls and so on, throw people in conferences and whatnot. So as you can see, it's a very, very feature-rich PBX that's, of course, open source. Asterisk also supports, of course, voice over IP. That includes voice over frame relay, which basically nobody uses. SIP, which is a protocol that devices like this SNOM phone over here use. Okay, here's a SIP phone. Or this ATA186 here from Cisco. Another similar device. We also support H323, IAX, which is the Inter-Asterisk Exchange Protocol, or the protocol that we developed internally for Asterisk. We support MGCP, and thanks to Jeremy back there, we also support Skinny, like that phone up there that he's holding up in the air. Asterisk is a IVR system, or an interactive voice response system. This is the kind of thing where you call into your bank and you enter in your account number and it can tell you what your balance is, okay? Asterisk lets you do that. It has hardware-independent programming interfaces, both at the C level and what we call AGI, which is basically just like CGI, where you read and write from standard in and standard out. So basically, anything you can program with a web page, right, with CGI, you can do the same content over a telephone with AGI, right, written in Perl or PHP or whatever you want to write it in, even shell script. Asterisk also has some ACD functionality, which is where you call into your credit card company and they put you on hold and remind you how important your call is to them. Yes. Supported hardware, let's see, let me get a box here. There we go. We produce at Digium a variety of TDM cards for connecting to the PSTN. We have somewhere here. Let me just throw things out here. Oh, I don't even have one, I don't think. Okay, well, we have this thing called an X100P that I don't have one of here, which is a single analog interface, which allows you just to hook up a single phone line from the real world into your PC. All right. We also make a card called the T100P, which is this guy right here, which is the smallest and cheapest way to get a single T1 or E1, if you happen to be European, into a PC for terminating any combination of data and voice. We also have a new card, the TE410P, which is somewhere here. Okay, well, actually, this is a real TE410P. So here's the TE410P, which is a quad T1 or E1. This card allows you to bring in 4 T1s or E1s into your Linux PC, cheaper than anybody else, and terminate any combination of voice and data. We also have a little USB dongle that lets you hook up one phone to your laptop or whatever over USB. And we have a quad station card that allows you to put up to 4 analog phones, connect them up directly. Okay, so we make a variety of hardware that you use with normal, analog phones and phone lines. We also support the Linux telephony interface, which is QuickNet. We support ISDN for Linux, OSS, and also compatible sound cards. So you don't really have to have any hardware if you don't want to, other than the sound card. You can still use Asterisk. We support CAPI, ISDN, and we also have support for Voicetronics. So one thing that's interesting is that we actually do develop software that is intentionally designed to support our competitors' products in these areas. Now, the really big problem that I have usually giving a talk is it's hard to get people excited about telephones, even when I'm talking about open source telephony at an event organized by 2600. Okay? So I'm going to vent a little bit here about my frustrations in this effort. First thing is, stupid things people care more about than open source telephony. Okay? Lockpicking. Canned exploits. Haxer and LeakSpeak on IRC. Owning random websites, installing BNC. Boxes that make Tones Bell used 20 years ago. War driving, and so on. Now, these, in comparison, I want to give you some things, some reasons why you ought to care about Asterisk more than all of these things, okay? First off, Asterisk allows you to take control of your phone system, or even just your phone line if that's all you've got, okay? But it gives you control. Once you get a call into a PC, you can do absolutely anything with it that you want. For the first time, Asterisk provides a way that you can experiment with telephony, okay, where you can have the same kind of freedoms with telephony that you have with data networks, to just be able to do whatever it is that you want. You can obviously make free phone calls to all your friends and girlfriends and whatever that live off very far away over your broadband or even dial-up connection. It allows you to deploy dynamic content via your telephone. So, like I said, CGI, think Apache for your telephone here, all right? Of course, it runs on Linux, and you get to hear Allison's oh so sexy voice. Allison is the person who does our recordings for the PBX. Okay. What? Okay. Let's try it again.
Ooh, baby, touch my asterisk key. Wow.
Okay. All right. Now, here's some stupid things people like to waste time doing. All right. Installing every Linux box from source code. Reorganizing and encrypting their porn collections. Sit on IRC and talk about how evil the RAAA, MPAA, and Microsoft are while typing STFU a lot. Buying every black t-shirt at ThinkGeek. And ricing out their computer with neon lights. Okay? Yes, sir. Do what? Yes, of course. Well, I mean, you can set it up to check for the availability of hosts, and you can set up priorities, and it's pretty flexible. I don't know if I answered your question or not. You're talking about just being able to set up trunks that bypass the normal PSTN network for calling out to numbers without, where basically you bypass the long distance network so you can make it as a local call at the other side. Right, yeah. Right. Now, what I'd like to give you, come on people, these, rather than wasting your time with a lot of these things, I'd like to encourage you guys to really take up Asterisk here. Some things that you could be spending your time better, and should be spending your time better if you're doing any of the things on the previous slide. First off, develop encrypted voice communications for Asterisk. This would be very, very welcome. How about creating scalable configuration systems in GUIs? Implement the fixes and feature requests from the bug tracker. I'm not the only person that actually works on Asterisk. Believe it or not, there are other people, and you guys are, certainly invited to help out with that. You can provide support on #* on Freenode if you're so inclined. Write documentation. That's a biggie. It's really hard to get people to write documentation, and it's very difficult for me to do it because it distracts from being able to actually implement code, and usually documentation I write isn't very good because I don't always think of all the pitfalls that people run into. And we keep changing things, yes. All right, so I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the Asterisk architecture and give you some network diagrams for those of you that are still new to it here. Asterisk is really middleware that allows you to connect any kind of telephony interface to any sort of telephony application that you might have. Okay? For those of you that are already familiar with voice over IP, this is a cheesy diagram here of a conventional soft switch network like you might have with Vovita or Cisco Call Manager and so on. Okay, you have a soft switch in the center, and you have various, arrays of different servers. You've got, music on hold servers, voicemail servers, conferencing servers. You have, PSTN gateways and analog gateways and so on to hook up actual phones. And one question we get asked often is, where does Asterisk fit in this sort of a network diagram? And the answer is, really, Asterisk fits any of those places. It can serve any of those roles. But the big picture here is that Asterisk can fill all of those roles with one piece of software on one machine, or however many machines you want to do it, because that's how you want to split it up, not because you're forced into some architecture that requires you to divide everything up. Here's some real simple network diagrams. This is a 1x1 PBX, which is probably not extremely practical for most people, but the idea that you can do something very small. This is an 8x16 PBX. You can actually hook up phones and phone lines to something called a channel bank that you can buy on eBay, which will convert the analog telephony signaling into a T1 signaling that you can then bring into a PC with like a T100P card. Of course, for bigger businesses, you can, or I guess for large groups, even like this group, you can use voice over IP to hook up different centers together so that you can both do toll bypass and just have station-to-station calling to stations that are just, even in another whole city. And of course, you can also do high-density IVR and conferencing. This is just a diagram of the internal Asterisk architecture, which really hasn't changed since 4 years ago when we started it. It's well, I'm not going to go into all this detail, but if anyone has any specific questions, they can tell me. And really, in general, if you guys want to know more technical information, I would encourage you to talk to me after this talk, or to go downstairs in the vendor area. We've got Asterisk running on a variety of hardware with different kinds of phones, and we've got lots of people that can help answer your questions you might have. And now, for the real part of my talk, is I want to tell you guys about where we've come in just 1 year. First off, seriously, we're beating out Nortel, Cisco, and Avaya and Lucent solutions with open source software at 1/3 the cost and with more features. This is huge. We're talking about systems that have tens or hundreds of man-years, mythical man-years of work behind them. And with an open source package, we're being able to go in there and beat them on features, on cost, and on being open source for those that actually care about it. We've gotten the attention of Cisco and Avaya enough to be in their labs. We actually had a customer that was a big Cisco customer that saw a bunch of engineers huddled around a machine at their lab, and he asked what it was, and they wouldn't tell him, but he took one of their engineers out after work, and the guy told him it was Asterisk, and that's how he found us. And yes, he's a good customer now. And Avaya is actually an interesting story. They apparently misconfigured their Asterisk, and when they were leaving voicemails, it was showing up in my voicemail box instead of theirs. And I got this email from Asterisk at linuxpbx.avaya.com, and I went, that's interesting, and looked at the email headers to confirm it was genuine. I was like, cool, that's good to know. We've got multiple companies now that are terminating natively with our inter-Asterisk exchange protocol. So that's good news for a lot of you guys that are running Asterisk. It means good, reliable voice over IP without having to have an actual phone line. So you can actually get your phone service over your broadband. I would generally recommend broadband. I guess it's technically possible over dial-up, but it's probably not a good idea. And we're now deployed in CLEX, next-gen providers, and national carriers worldwide. So it's pretty exciting. We have just the analog cards start at $99, but you can also get a developer's kit which has basically two of the analog cards for $150 or $175, depending on which one you get. And that's pretty much the basic entry point for actually connecting to real phones. Now, of course, if you have just a sound card, you can kind of start with just that and kind of experiment with it. But really getting the telephony in it is what makes it interesting. Are you talking about like the IX termination? Jeremy, do you know what you charge for? Do you also give out phone numbers? Okay. And there are other companies too. We should probably put a web page together with everybody that's offering leads termination. Hold that thought. Okay, some major community advances. Pound Asterisk is now 150 people at least. That's our channel on Freenode. The Asterisk mailing lists have almost 2,000 subscribers, and we have about 200 messages a day. Yes. You know what this is like. It's far gotten past my ability to actually read every email on there. And we now have Digium customers who are supporting Freenode by making donations when they purchase hardware. We had a Asterisk Birds of the Feather at the Bond conference, Voice over Network. And personally, I now spend more time managing contributed patches than I do writing code. So that's a big step. That means that the open source model is working. When you start getting the patches coming in, that's when when the payoff, the decision to go open source rather than closed, starts to really to hit you. And of course, we've got an Asterisk bug tracker now, which makes my life a lot easier and makes life a lot easier for other people. Here's some major IX advantages. We have EEX version 2, which is structured a lot more like PRI. EEX trunking triples the number of calls per megabyte. It's an interesting story. My sales guy, Greg, accidentally told a customer that we could fit 100 calls across a T1 with voice over IP. And so I was left with the challenge of actually being able to implement that. And working with the customer, we together both came up with a way that the customer sort of had an idea, and at first I wasn't really sure. But anyway, make a long story short, we managed to do it. And now we can get, if you use G729 compression and IX, we can get about 100 calls per megabit over voice over IP when doing toll bypass. So this is really huge. This is about 3 times the number of calls that you can fit across, for example, SIP or H323 with the same configuration. IX is still totally NAT and PAT transparent and robust. That means with SIP, it's difficult to make it work correctly through NATs, and certainly not full-featured with native bridging and things like that. But with IX, it always works through your NAT. As long as you haven't explicitly blocked the port number, it will get through whatever it is, and it will run, and you will never dial a number and have no audio when the call gets up and connected. IX2 has no text parsing in order to be higher reliability, less likelihood of buffer overflows, and so on. And we've got over 1,000 EEXTEL registered users now. And, of course, we've also written the EEXE song, which, Brian, where's Ryan? Ryan is going to come and sing the EEXE song for you. Or he'll try, at least.
Yeah, I'll try.
Okay? All right, here you go. And I'll just flip the pages here so you guys can follow along.
Yeah, this is what happens when you get to free room and free beer and free food for the weekend. So. Laugh with me. Not at me. I'm 260 for my ship. 260 for my ship. So 68 I'm 260 for my land. 260 for my land. Network and the WAN. I'm 260 for your party. 260 for your party. No way I'm just dancing. Protocol, you know what I mean? I'll keep my little trunk on the cat vibe. Yeah, I'm on the catwalk. I'm on the cat vibe. Yeah, I do my little turn on the cat vibe. Hold on, some more. Too sexy for my car. Too sexy for my law. Too sexy by far. I'm too sexy for red hat. Too sexy for red hat. What you think about that? Protocol, you know what I mean? I do my little turn on the cat vibe. Yeah, on the cat vibe. On the cat vibe, yeah, I shake my little touch on the cat vibe. Alright, that's not over yet, but okay. Too sexy for my hand. Too sexy for my hand. You know what I mean? I do my little song on the cat vibe. Yeah, on the cat vibe. Yeah, on the cat vibe. Yeah, I share my little toad on the cat vibe. Too sexy for my cat. Too sexy for my cat. For pussy and pussy cat. Too sexy for my love. Too sexy for my hub. Up going to 8.3. Too sexy for too long. Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan.
No problem.
Appreciate your. No. Okay, moving on. We have some pretty substantial software advances, including improved ACD and call queuing, support for remote agents, local agents, all kinds of stuff. We have new hardware support, including Voicetronics and Dialogic, but you have to pay for the Dialogic support. We have the addition of Skinny/SCCP by Jeremy back there. Lots of improvements to MGCP and SIP for enhancing their support of call features. We have new codecs, including ILBC and Speaks, call monitoring, improved variable support, macros for really shortening your dial plan, and most recently, FreeBSD and OpenBSD support. Major hardware advances include the development of the TE410P, which is a unified T1E1 interface card, our station interface card that I showed you, the IXI prototype, which I'll show you pretty soon, upcoming FXO in the next few weeks we should have FXO modules, and in a few months we'll have a 120 channel echo cancellation module for the TE410P. And a new platform, the PBX box. Let me show you. This is the PBX box. This one right here has three sort of handcrafted telephony interfaces, allowing you to plug standard analog telephones in. We'll have it set up downstairs so you can actually call with it. It's an unmodified. Other than that, it's an unmodified Xbox, with the exception of the large Asterisk sticker that's been placed on the top. And it just runs straight up Debian Linux. Now the IXI is a very small voice over IP gateway. It's designed to replace this guy right here, and I have only one prototype, and that prototype is currently installed right here. And so I can take Ethernet and a telephone, and power. We don't have PoE anyway. It doesn't really matter. And then once the green light comes on, if anyone wants to give me their cell phone number, I will give them a call. Is this? I need the area code. Okay, what? 615-238-4650. And if we're lucky and the internet's working, we might get through. I may have to get you to give me that number again. I'm going to try to type it in right. I don't think I got it. There we go. That's me dialing. And you're there, right? There you go. Yep. So, if anyone wants to make a call, feel free to do it on me after the presentation, so to speak. I'll tell you a little bit more about this box right here. To tell you a little bit more about this box, which as you can see, it's a little bit smaller, and the real packaging will be even smaller than this box is. But what's interesting is that this Cisco box here uses a number of DSPs, microcontrollers, and so on. RAM, flash. The XE runs on 4K. That's 4K of RAM. Okay, on an 8-bit PIC-like microcontroller. All right. There's something to be said for what needs to be fixed about voice over IP, and we think we've got some ideas about the right way to go about making those changes. Okay, and basically to finish up here, Asterisk really is a technology revolution. Okay, think about PCs and how they've completely obsoleted mini computers. That over time, what you could do with a PC became so significant compared to what you could do with a mini computer that there was no reason to go out and buy these gigantic proprietary systems. Okay? Think about Linux versus Windows, free open source software versus the proprietary giant. And in the case of telephony, actually, it's a lot easier to win than it is against Windows, because you do have still standards that you can connect with. Asterisk is a community revolution because it represents I should get this here. It's a community revolution because it represents a very rare collaboration between a commercial entity, in this case Digium, who develops it, and the community that supports it, and the community that contributes patches and makes it really a success. Our business, our entire business, is centered around this product, and we spend most of our time developing it or developing the hardware to support it. We're probably one of the few hardware vendors out there that does not support Windows. We only support Linux, and hopefully eventually we'll support BSD. You really can use Asterisk if you need anything related to phones. You can use Asterisk, and Asterisk definitely needs you to help participate. And here are a few more resources. If you're actually running Asterisk, these 4 commands here are very handy. And then some other helpful sites include asterisk.org, of course, digium.com, and the MarcoCam, where you can see when I really am working on it and when I'm not. There you go. Okay, and then just to finish up here, I'm going to give you my top 10 reasons to run Asterisk, all right? So number 10 is it has a convenient, unambiguous, single, non-alphanumeric abbreviation, which is, of course, Shift 8. Okay? Number 9 is dial an MP3. And yes, this really does exist. There's a Perl script if you download Asterisk, and it's designed to hook up to XMMS so that you can call your XMMS, type in on the keypad some various keywords, and it'll start playing the music both over the phone and out whatever your XMMS is hooked up to play through. Number 8, it can call you 20 minutes into a blind date as an emergency exit. So, yes, Asterisk can make outbound calls too, completely originated from itself. So, Asterisk plus cron, you get the picture. Number 7, that's a lot more leet than an answering machine. Number 6, time to move to something more legal, useful, and entertaining than the Captain Crunch whistle. Number 5, it's the only way to build a call center on your laptop. Okay. Yeah. Number 4, teleconferencing with your friends allows you to be more lazy and unsocial than you already are. Number 3, build your own phone company from recycle.coms. Well, I mean, a lot of them would use voice over IP systems. There's only so much that you need to make a phone company now. Number 2, finally tell telemarketers all representatives of the household are currently busy assisting other telemarketers. Your call will be answered in the order it was received. Now, a couple of comments on this. We do actually have a prompt from Allison saying that exact phrase. Okay? So if you have an Asterisk system, you can actually transfer someone to that extension that would play that, although my recommendation is that you put them on music on hold for at least 45 seconds or so, to get them all nice and going for when they hear the response. And the number 1 reason that you should run Asterisk is why settle for being just another webmaster, hostmaster, or postmaster when you too can be an Astmaster like me? Thank you very much for listening. All right. Does anybody else have any questions? Yes, sir. The TE410P is jumper selectable T1 or E1 on a per port basis, and it's also a bus mastering interface, so it's substantially faster and gives you higher density. It also uses an Infineon framer, which I like a lot better than the Dallas one that we used on the original design. Any other questions? In the back. They do have integrated CSU, DSU, and the TE410P has been approved for use in the U.S., Europe, and Australia. Anything else? What if I give you a free tape measure? Any questions then? Yes, sir. In the front. Okay, no one else can ask that question. Your question has to be related to Asterisk. No, you cannot. Nice try. Okay, anybody else? Yes, sir. If you have a service like the one that these people offer here with each termination, then you can call anybody with a regular line. But the real cool part is also being able to set up your own network where you can just call your friends and whatnot. We have a service called Extel that's free, where you can register with that and you can call the other Extel users over IP. And you could either use a sound card or you can use like the S100U or the TDM card. There you go. Where tape measure? Okay. All right. Yes, ma'am. Well, Asterisk definitely generates call detail records, but the level of call documentation that you're looking for, I don't think is there yet. You can create that. Yeah, I mean it's not really rocket science to add. It just needs someone almost more than anything else to say exactly what those numbers are that need to be recorded. You can do a lot of database accessing through the AGI scripts. Not only can they be used for traditional IVR, but they can also be used to reroute the calls. So, for example, you could use simple AGI scripts to send a call to whoever the last agent was that spoke with that particular customer. So that could be, handy in certain circumstances, I think. Good question. You have one upstairs? Oh, okay. Well, that one has a level. And it's got a level. Okay. Yes, sir. Well, the Yahoo Messenger I don't think uses a normal phone, but other than that, I mean, Asterisk is a little more sophisticated in terms of you can also set up your voicemail and you can do call conferences and so on like that. Yeah. Yes, sir. I think I'm about out of them, by the way. I've only got one left. But go ahead. Yeah. We have one that's $99 for the USB, and we have a TDM card that's $125. They have, but ours is the PCI one. I don't think they sell the PCI one for under $100, do they? On your laptop, all you'd need would be the S100U. Let me see if I've got one. To receive a phone call, right? You'd want some sort of a service, right, to connect it up at the other end. But if you wanted to go through your home phone line, for example, then you would need an X100P. You might get the dev kit for $150 that has both pieces of hardware, both the S100U and the X100P, so that you could basically be your own voice over IP provider. If you wanted to clear your calls, unless you also wanted to use a service like what Jeremy and Brian, offer. Yes, sir, in back. You can, obviously you can route your home phone to wherever you want. So one thing you could do is, for example, in his situation, you can have the X100P in your home on your home phone line, and when you call into it, you could have it call your S100U connected to your laptop anywhere else on the net, and you can forward your home phone line that way. If you actually want to go back to the PSTN, you'll either need a termination service or a second phone line to be able to make that second call back out to your analog or to your cell phone. Except, with one exception, if you have call forwarding on your home phone line, or transfer I should say, then Asterisk can answer the line, flash hook, dial your cell phone number, and hang up, which would be a transfer to your cell phone if you have that service on your home phone line. Anything else? Yes, sir. You can use SIP phones. Yeah. You get what you pay for to some degree, but the cheapest one is the Grandstream phone, which is only $75, but it really does look like a $10 Walmart phone. We've got some of them downstairs. If you guys come to the vendor area, you can see some of the other phones that we've got. Not that we produce or anything. We don't sell any phones at this point, but you can see what some of those devices are. Yeah, that's these guys. Yo. You can use it with the ICSI you can use with a conventional telephone. Right. So it would adapt a traditional phone to be voice over IP enabled. Yes, sir. Well, in onesie twosies, it'll probably be about $99, at least in the beginning. But it's really targeted more at service providers. and it will definitely come off that price for service providers that are buying hundreds or thousands. Really, to a great degree, when you buy hardware from us, you're paying for the support. You're paying for the fact that if you have any problem with it, if you need to get it configured, you can call us up and we'll walk you through it. We'll help you set it up. We'll even log in your box over SSH and install the drivers and software for it if you want us to. Anything else? Anyone else? All right. Well, I guess that's it. Thanks again, guys. And if you have any other questions, you want to talk to me either after the talk here or downstairs. Oh, yeah. Jeremy's got some cards here for you. If you want, Jeremy's got some cards about Asterisk with information.